Hey everybody, and welcome to FPSGeneral. My name is Ben. Thanks for stopping by. Today I want to talk about FPS eSports, or for the people who don't know what that is, it's first-person shooter pro gaming. So let's get started. So first, a little background knowledge for people who don't have any experience in this. MLG was started about 10 years ago with the advent of something called game battles, where you could form a little team and face off against friends, family, random people online, generally whoever, and you would get points towards a ranking, and your ranking would determine who would win that season. It wasn't anything really big back then. Occasionally they'd invite the people who were higher on the rankings to tournaments where they could face off for money. They also had a small tournament sector that was separate for people who just wanted to win money. Anyway, if I'm wrong about any of this stuff, feel free to correct me. So the scene kind of grew into multiple games. Call of Duty was the biggest one of them all. So what happened is that it actually grew into a larger pro circuit with people that did very well in the game battles and eventually just started going to tournaments together. And that morphed into the MLG Pro Circuit, and now we're at where we are today. It all came to kind of a height when Call of Duty Black Ops 2 kind of introduced a lot of esports features. And that really brought in a lot of people into the esports scene and got a lot of people interested in pro FPS gaming. Before that, there was a lot of people who were interested in the game itself and were interested in the people who played that individual game, but there wasn't so much interest in the whole FPS pro gaming scene as a whole. After Black Ops 2 happened, however, the entire FPS gaming scene has kind of exploded, not just Call of Duty. So that's how that kind of connects, if you guys were wondering.
For right now, though, FPS esports is not the largest thing in the scene because Dota 2 and League of Legends hold the number 2 and number 1 spot, respectively, for esports. League of Legends is the world's most played game and also the most watched in esports. Dota 2 takes a pretty close second for most watched. And FPS esports, of course, Call of Duty will be number 3. It's not that big of an issue, but it is a slightly bigger issue right now that Activision and Infinity Ward have actually decreased the amount of interest in FPS esports by releasing Call of Duty Ghosts as a basically unfinished game. They really dropped the ball, and what happened from that was the viewership, especially at MLG Columbus, which was the most recent Call of Duty tournament, the viewership was about a third of what they'd hoped, and attendance was about half. So a lot of people didn't want to watch the game because they disliked the game so much, because they kind of dropped the ball. And you might be wondering how this hurts the rest of FPS esports. Well, Call of Duty is the most popular FPS esport out there. Believe it or not, it does trickle down viewers to Battlefield and to Counter-Strike for people who want to watch them. It increases the amount of interest in FPS esports as a whole. It gets other people wanting to compete. So if that is happening, then a lot of people are going to stop being interested in FPS esports, which really will hurt the scene. A lot of people have actually been talking about Battlefield taking over as the number 1 esport. There's a lot of things that need to happen first. First off, it needs better esports support in-game with options for private matches. I haven't really seen that so far with Battlefield. I have seen it a lot with Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's good, but a lot of people don't play it. Some people didn't even know that it exists, and that needs to change. But Battlefield, a lot of people know that it exists. Basically, everyone who plays Call of Duty knows what Battlefield is. And I think that it could open up into a pretty big scene. However, the nice thing is that Call of Duty is more accessible because it's played on a console. It's a little bit cheaper than buying a PC that's capable of playing Battlefield on ultra settings, because most people want to play it on the best settings possible. Console gameplay also allows for consistent gameplay from person to person, whereas PC, say one guy has a supercomputer with an Intel i7 Extreme processor and all sorts of fancy gizmos and gadgets on it. That's going to play it a lot better than the $500 computer he got from Walmart. So that could give him a distinct advantage in gunfights. Another thing that Battlefield really needs before esports can happen is they really need better maps. Their maps right now, they're great. They're great for pub matches. And they're great for even like really, really large matches of people, so I guess it'd work for large matches of esports. But the smaller maps, like the scaled down sized maps, they're not very good for esports. Even the big ones aren't very good at esports either. The maps need to be equidistant from each team. It needs to be set up in a way that kind of supports esports. That kind of supports high adrenaline, fast pace, ground 'em and pound 'em gameplay. It needs to emulate Call of Duty a little bit in that way. That said, I think Battlefield has a lot of potential for it, but it does need a little bit of tweaking before esports can really become a huge scene on it. Another thing is that Battlefield 4 is actually having a lot of issues playing on console. We've heard issues about bugs, a lot of crashing, even some hacking. And that needs to end before esports can become a viable option. To be fair though, Call of Duty Ghosts has the exact same issue, and they're still moving ahead with the MLG scene, so, whatever. I think that both games need a little bit of tweaking before they can become a little bit bigger in esports. I think Call of Duty Ghosts is a little bit bigger of an issue right now, because it's the third most popular esport in the world, and it right now is on the decline because people honestly hate this game. It looks boring to watch because the maps are so dull. The gameplay's not dull, but the maps definitely are. And I think that they need to do something about that. It's kind of like watching people fight on a house made of paper. So it's like really, really boring, grayscale kind of stuff. A Counter-Strike is good the way it is. It just needs more people in the scene. And I think it could really grow into a larger esport. Halo has kind of fallen out of the pro scene because it's so far between the game's evolutions. I mean, Halo 4 was like 2-3 years ago now, and Halo 5 isn't going to be coming out until 2014 or 2015, so it's going to be a while before Halo becomes big in the pro scene again. I think if they want to increase the viability of Halo in the pro scene, they're going to need, first, better esports options available in-game. Right now I heard that they're doing good with that. I haven't played Halo in a while myself, but I think that the thing they really need to do is they need to increase how frequent the game comes out. Maybe hire some more people, and I think that the game should come out every 1 to 2 years. Every 2 years would be fine, but every 1 year would be the best, because Call of Duty does have the ability. They keep the game fresh that way, and I think that is one of the distinct advantages it has over other FPS games. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this commentary. If you did, like and subscribe. I will have more Battlefield 4 commentaries coming out soon. Thanks, guys. Peace out.